So look, can you hear this? It sort of comes from down here. It's like, can you hear it? It's been described as like birds tweeting, and if I really put my foot down hard, listen, it sounds like there's a midget hitting this with a hammer. Ooh, do you hear that? Those are not good sounds. And those are the sounds of the drive shaft bearing support has died. It's like a rubbery thing. So I'm going to cruise this home. Luckily I knew it was on the way out because it was making funny noises. And I'm going to fit a new one today. And it all started with a trip to Walmart. So yeah, got the goodies to fix the Cayenne. Look, lots of stuff. For some reason I bought a scented candle. I'm going to use these big drive-on ramp doodahs rather than jack it up. Should be fun. Right, let's Uber home and get this done. It's a beautiful day in South Carolina. Yeah, the symptoms are strange. It's very boring with me just recording down here, but that's where the noise comes from. Driving it around very gently, the car makes no sound. I don't know how much you can hear. It just drives normally. As you start to put the gas down, and for me it's around 2,000 revs, you start to hear like a chirping sound, which I've read is the one of the bearings wearing loose. And if I accelerate beyond 2,000, it's not acceleration that does it, it's torque. So if I'm just like pressing to put some power in, then you hear the drive shaft thumping. It's like a knock, 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 knock. It comes from deep inside here, and it's quite terrifying when it first happens. You think like the engine's going to explode or something's come really loose. Then you can just kind of cruise it around. I've been limping this car around for about 2 weeks now, and not driving it unless I absolutely have to. And I had to drive it this morning, so I just took my rental car back, which I'd driven because I had a long journey yesterday. And now we're going home, and I'm going to stick it up on the driveway and put the Vertex drive shaft mount in, which I'll show you in a second. Fun alternative reversing. I want to do it on the driveway, but my drive's at a slight angle, so I've had this idea that I'm going to do it completely sideways across the drive, like this. Yeah, I'm off-roading on my lawn. Then I'll just shove the ramps in front and we'll take it from there. We're not working on that one today. Here's my beautiful assistant, young Miss Tiguan. This, in case you're wondering, is because I broke the electric thing on the garage and I keep smashing my head into it. There she is. So I just put them up on these blocks. These were $30 from Walmart. And I'm going to get underneath and change the support bearings. So this is the replacement drive shaft support. Look at all my cunning tools. From Vertex Auto. This was $399. It's still a buttload cheaper. Oh, it even comes with a front rubber doodah replacement. That's good. And this is the bit that's actually failed on mine, but they suggest you replace this as well. This is where when this is going, I think it makes the tweeting noises. So I'm replacing both these pieces. And we have new bolts to go everywhere. Beautiful. Let's do it. Alright, so remember for me, the long ones are the inside and the short ones are the outside. So put the two, where's the other short one gone? What did you do with that? Short one there. This is the bit I hate. I'm going to squirm my 6'4" body. 300 pounds of joy tightly under this car. It's a tight squeeze for me. Got this thing which is going to replace this here. I'm not looking at mine, it looks perfect. It looks like it's in brand new condition still. I'll rotate that and see. But for right now, let's try and figure out what size bolts and everything I'm going to be needing. I'm guessing from looks that it's a 16 for the bigger bolts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 bigger bolts. 16 mil. There's a smaller one. Please be a 13. 13 mil. Sweet. Don't think I just lucked out. I did just try those a minute ago. And of course, got the wrong size first. So let's take this off. So this is what's coming out. Here's the drive shaft. Here's the rubber seal that looks pretty good. This is the replacement they sent. Honestly, I mean, it's a 2008 car. So it's 10 years old. Look how clean this is. Like, some of it's like new. Wow. There's a lot of electrics under here that are exposed. So I guess if you live in like a real wet climate, maybe you have problems. But look, it's not even, there's just no dirt, there's no under seal on this. This is like some kind of cardboardy. So I guess up here is where the gear shift is. Anyway, I digress. This is what's coming off, and in here is a broken thing. So I'm going to take it off and find out. Not the most comfortable working angle in the world, but not the most uncomfortable either. Luckily the car's so clean that I'm doing these all really pretty easy. Actually, so these two metal bolts here, the smaller ones, look like they're the ones that hold. You can see it rattling up there. That's the thing that's gone, I'm guessing. Yeah, they're all the same. 16 mils are identical. There's the plate. Not really dirty, but easy to clean up. And here is our broken fender. As you can see, look, the rubber. Oh, it's okay. So what they're saying is you have to just shave off this little bit of rubber here, pack some fresh oil in here, grease rather, and then put the new mount on here, and it all bolts together. Fantastic. But for right now, I'm going to have to get my new disc cutter out and cut this beauty off. Some fresh gloves. Just used an angle grinder. I think it's called a grinder. It's a Hitachi one that cost me $35 from Lowe's. And I'm going to attempt to use it to grind through this attachment here. I've never used one of these before, so I'm a little bit nervous, I must admit. So let's see what happens when I grind it. Safety goggles. Look, look, one size fits all. Ow! It's so tight, it just barely reached my ears. One size fits all if you're an Oompa Loompa. There's a mosquito in here as well now. Big extension lead. The direction of spin is that way, so the flame should go away from my face, is the theory. And let's see what happens.
So that's the metal drill through. I'm going to use a pair of clips to clip through the rubber mount. Some clips. Too old to be laying under cars. Too old. State of my garage. Absolute disgrace. You're a disgrace. Number 911. That. And maybe this. Maybe Mr. Clippy and Mr. Slicey will help me do this. Oh yeah, that's the one. Oh, that makes it really easy. If you're doing this, just use a pair of clips. And then we've got to somehow bend this apart, which is basically give it some muscle. And then off it comes. So now we've got to trim off, it says, trim off this rubber around here so that it goes completely flat, which doesn't look too bad because it's all ripped to pieces. So I'm going to try that now, but I'll get myself a cold drink first of all. Here's the failed component. Imagine it being round, you can actually see all the torn up rubber where it's lost the grip around the piece. And there's our new replacement. Fantastic. So there's our drive shaft mount covered in this corroded rubber. That sucks. Ages cleaning this off, putting the oil in, the grease rather, and then I realised that the camera had fallen over and turned off. There we are, cleaned up. I shouldn't have done that. Cleaned up. So here's the top bit. As you can see, it's shaped to a groove in here, and this is where the bearing is going to fit. And I can feel that as I push on, it kind of nicely clicks home. It's nice and snug, so I'm very happy about that. The long ones go on the inside, so the long ones go in here. Oops. So I can see that is going to sit there. This is going to be a pain in the arse. Where's the other one then? There it is. Oh, fuck's sake. So I figured if I get one in, the other one should be easier to chase. Maybe a little spot of grease would have been a good thing, but I haven't got any handy, so WD-40 is God's gift to the world. Well, it's Easter today, which I believe is the day that God gave his only begotten can of WD-40 to the world of backyard mechanics. Man, my sausage fingers though are not designed to work in little tiny gaps like this. Hey, that sits really nice and tight all around the bearing. They're just finger tighted up, but I can tell it's a really nice fit, so I'm glad I took the extra effort to really clean that bearing housing off. And now I've got to put two shorter ones in the side brackets up here. You can hear one of my neighbours yelling at his kids. Well, not yelling. They're Easter egg hunting. Awesome. It does feel rock solid. It also feels like it's really holding on well to it. I'm very pleased. So I'm going to try and crack these on just as hard as I can with my little hand. Don't want to break them. Do not want to break them. So give them just a quarter turn beyond what I can do with my fingers. All the holes are in the same spots. Yippee! Let's do this. I'm going to put each one of them in just a fingertip tight and spray a little bit of WD on the thread just to ease them up through the holes. I wonder if some real mechanics will say, "Don't put WD on the thread, you idiot! You'll ruin everything." To watch. I will probably respond something like, "Bollocks, Joe." Yeah, how'd they get through that? Well, that, as they say, is that. Let's take it for a drive. Oh yeah. Mustn't forget the watch.
Lessons learned. You need some protective goggles because lots of crap falls in your face and little bits of metal when you're grinding off the edges. Tools you need, remarkably simple. Sockets, 16mm for the big bolts and a 13mm for the small. Clampy things come in handy for clampying stuff. A razor blade with a nice firm grip on it was really useful for trimming the rubber off. Snips for snipping the rubber out once you've finished grinding it. I use this for some of the little bits and pieces, just a slice. This useful little torch, which sat on the floor, really made seeing the bits and pieces much easier. An angle grinder was really useful, and some WD-40, and of course some ramps. So let's get it off the ramps and take it for a drive. I think that is fixed. Well, it's 2 days later, and there she blows. I left it for a couple of days because I had to drive up to Virginia yesterday. So I did a nice 700-mile round trip and drove like a star. Not a rattle, a squeak, or anything in sight. I wouldn't have known it wasn't a brand new drive shaft in there. So Vertex Autos with their $400 drive shaft fix is the man. Gets a big thumbs up from Mr. Porsche.